Hi, I'm Marilyn, and I want to welcome you today to Exposing Grief. When we expose anything, it becomes less threatening. To expose loss and grief will provide us with some emotional control. In 2020, we laid the foundation for these conversations. Over 12 episodes, we explained how loss and grief can and does occur at any age or any stage in life. You can go back and listen to those foundational podcast episodes, or you can begin listening today as part of your personal journey to be more emotionally and mentally healthy. This journey is personal. You cannot force or coerce anyone to be more healthy, whether physically or emotionally. A person has to be willing to do all the hard work in order to see results. You can, however, encourage them. Maybe you will be that one person who lets them know they can be successful. The COVID-19 pandemic seems to be waning in many ways. There are more opportunities to venture out and meet with friends and family. In doing so, it has become obvious that choosing a place to meet can be a challenge. It is also clear that the devastation to businesses will linger for quite some time. It is as if we have been in a war and have suffered casualties. It's one thing to read in a paper or hear on the news that a favorite restaurant, bar, or establishment has closed. It's quite another to make plans to meet others and realize that your most fun or favorite hangout is no longer available. Some of these businesses have been open for decades, and now they are simply gone, never to be reopened. There will never be another opportunity to sit at a favorite table or interact with friends, the waitstaff, and other regular patrons. It was taken for granted that our children and children's children would be able to enjoy these same establishments. But some of these familiar places are now gone, and the thought of those losses brings sadness. Sure, we can go to new places, but it takes time to locate just the right one where the food is consistent, the waitstaff is friendly and non-transient, and the atmosphere is welcoming. Many times we don't realize how important a location is until that location no longer exists. With all the changes since the pandemic, in many ways, we are starting over. Starting over has its own challenges. The familiar is like a comfortable pair of shoes or cozy sweater. Anything new has to be adjusted to in some way. Each person has to find their own way of resolving the feelings of loss and sadness. For me, it has been a process to understand that I will no longer be able to go to the place where my late husband and I had our first date, or even the place where he proposed. Both places are now closed and will not be reopening. Sure, I have the memories, but the physical location just made me feel a bit closer to him. I know I'm not the only one experiencing these feelings. We are each a work in progress, and talking about our feelings does help a great deal. One other thing this pandemic has done is divide friends and family. Many forgot who the real enemy was, and we turned on each other. In some instances, relationships will not be restored due to words that cannot be taken back. There are even instances where family members have been cruel to one another. It may take years for some of these wounds to completely heal. Even though I have never been in a war, my imagination says this pandemic is a close second. There have been so many deaths, distrust of others, misinformation, isolation, loss of businesses, and sorrow. The world seems to be grieving en masse, but hopefully the pain will resolve soon, and the days ahead will be more joyous. We must accept that the world, even our personal worlds, will not look the same as before the pandemic. Yet another thing to grieve. In time, we will each adjust because we must. It is important to be patient with ourselves and with others. If you need professional help in order to cope with all that is going on in your feelings and emotionally, I urge you to look for someone who is willing to help you acquire the tools you will need to navigate how life is now different. Individually and collectively, it has been a difficult 2.5 years. The breakdown of so much familiar at once can be disheartening. Remind yourself of how resilient we are. I am confident we as a people, the human race, will come back stronger than ever if we don't try to sweep all that has happened away as if it was some kind of nightmare. The pandemic has changed us, and that is okay. We just have to find a way to move forward. in a healthy way. It is important to look at these years from a mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual perspective. All will be relevant to our future success as a world of individuals who are dependent on one another. I give us a 100% chance of making it. These conversations about loss, grief, and emotional well-being are necessary and perhaps well overdue. Be a part of these important conversations. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to visit with you next time on Exposing Grief.